Here's the code side of our HTML web page where we're going to be using a JavaScript function called by the unclick event of a button and then eventually displayed in the web page so that we can see it work. We start out with our standard tags, starting up at the top with HTML head. There is no title tag in here, there really should be one, but just to keep it simple. And then we have our script tags, and our script tags are what house a function or other scripting code that we might have in here. The best idea would be to have a code behind page, which would be a .js page. So just like in cascading style sheets, the preferred method is external, followed by embedded, which is what we see here, and then finally inline, which would mean in the body tag somewhere. And we do have reasons to have inline if we have a mouse over event or something simple. But usually we keep all of our code in an external file and then we link it to our web pages so that we create reusable objects and reusable code. Makes it far more efficient for our website. But in any regard, we do have our function called calculate. It has a set of parentheses that would normally house parameters. However, this function does not have any parameters. Next, we are declaring a variable called department. And department is being assigned to a member of the document object model. So kind of a lot to look at as an introductory look, but nonetheless it's important. So we are talking about the document object, and within that object we can retrieve information from the document, and the document we're talking about here is in fact the web page. Get element by ID department allows us to retrieve one of the elements in the web page, and here it is down here. We have an input element, which means it's going to be some kind of a form element. Its type is text, which really relates to a text box. And its ID is department. So we can use the get element ID by ID property of the document in order to find out what is one of the elements, and if we do in fact find one called department, we are then retrieving its value. So that's the value property of that particular ID. So what it means is we are making a text box with this tag. We are naming it department, and then we are going to retrieve the value that the user typed into that text box and assign it to the variable department. So object-oriented programming usually requires a lot less steps than traditional mainframe programming. However, it gets to be very powerful, so every step can have a lot of components to it that we need to take some time to understand. Next, we're going to check to see within this if statement if the department that somebody typed in, so it's the value of that variable, so it's holding whatever the user typed into that text box, if it equals MK for marketing, then we are going to use the alert function, which shows a pop-up box, and return the value department. So whatever somebody typed in there, we're going to show in a pop-up box. So that's what our function does. We have a button that is going to call that function. So it kind of sits there in the code, not doing anything until we actually call it as the result of some kind of event in our web page. And the event here is the unclick event of a button. So we'll take a look at it live in the demo. But here's what it looks like before we actually see it live in the web page. Lower so you can see that. So we have two text boxes. They have some annotation to let us know what's going on, and then the button that we click to actually run the code, the calculate code.